Captain Horatio Nelson was with the British Navy, and this was in the early 1800s, and he was attacking some French troops. And they signaled, because at other areas of the battle the French were winning, they signaled for Captain Nelson to retreat. He ignored the command, and finally one of his subordinates said to him, "Look, we're receiving a command from the shore, from another boat." So Nelson picked up his little telescope that he had, and with his eye that he was blind in, put the telescope there. And then he said to his subordinate, "I don't see any signal." And then went on to fight that battle, which he won. Because of what happened there, that whole thing is called to turn a blind eye. You've heard that phrase, to turn a blind eye, which means to ignore something. To ignore something. To turn a blind eye. But that's kind of what's going on today, my friends. Many people turn a blind eye to our faith. Just turn away. Just turn away. And we all see it, don't we, my friends? To just turn a blind eye. But in this gospel, we see a man who doesn't. And Bartimaeus did two wonderful, wonderful things. The first thing was he knew who to turn to. Sounds simplistic, but he knew who to turn to. Sir Harry Lauder was a wonderful musician in Scotland and well known during World War I. His son, he used to encourage the soldiers and things like that. And his son went into the army in Scotland and actually died during the war. And they were surprised to see him continue to sing after the war, and somebody commented about that. And he said, when somebody faces tragedies, three things happen. He said, there's three ways out of it. He said, you can turn to drink, you can turn to despair, or you can turn to God. He said, I chose to turn to God. But it's so true, isn't it? I deal with tragedy all the time, my friends, and I see it three ways people turn to it: through drink and other things, or despair, discouragement, or they turn to God. Or they turn to God. Fanny Crosby, more popular in the Protestant circles, was a well-known gospel singer in the 1800s, early 1900s, completely blind. She had an affection when she was very, very young, and she wrote over 8,000 gospel hymns, over 100 million copies of print with some of her songs, and her songs are still sung today, many of them. But at 8 years old, she wrote this poem. Oh, what a happy child I am, although I cannot see. I'm resolved that in this world, contented I will be. How many blessings I enjoy that other people don't. To weep and sigh because I'm blind, I cannot and I won't. What an amazing four-stanza poem to an 8-year-old. What a happy child I am, although I can't see. I'm resolved in this world, contented I will be. How many blessings I enjoy that other people don't. Amazing. Simply blessings. To weep and sigh because I'm blind, I cannot and I won't. Later on, she goes to see, she says, I thank God that I can't see, because my God has given me things to see in different ways. Beautiful, my friends. Just like Bartimaeus, he knew who to turn to. And the other thing that Bartimaeus did was, he's crying out and people were telling him what? What were they doing? He's crying out, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And people responded to him, telling him what? Be quiet, right? Be quiet. And I'm sure they used much other different stronger words than what's in this gospel. I can only imagine the words they used. He's telling him to be quiet, and what does he do? What does he do? He keeps calling out the more. He's not interested in what other people are thinking. He knows who to go to. Jesus will always, 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 my friends, and we need to get this in our head, reward determination. His time period's different than ours. That's where our trouble comes in, but he will always reward determination. I'm not sure how many of you have ever heard of Wilma Rudolph. She was the 20th child of 22. Amazing in itself. Born prematurely. At age 4, she contracted double pneumonia and scarlet fever, and it left her left leg and some of her upper thigh paralyzed. She learned to walk with the aid of a metal brace. When she was 9 years old, she removed the leg brace and began to walk without it. By age 13, she started to run. And then for the next 3 years, she ran in every race that she possibly could. You know what place she went in? She came in? Dead last. 3 straight years, dead last. Then the next 3 years, she started doing much, much better and progressed thereon after. In 1960 in Rome, in the Olympic Games, Wilma Rudolph won 3 gold medals in track. Once told that she would never walk. And in 1960, she wins 3 gold medals in track. Amazing, isn't it? The power of determination, my friends. We need to instill that determination not only in sports and education and our jobs, but also in our spiritual life. Don't give up. You know, there's all those people that say to us, and sometimes we say to ourselves, about all this church, why bother with church? Why bother? Is it worth it? Is it worth it to pray? Is it worth it to hope? Is it worth it to forgive? Sometimes we get those voices in our head and the crowd outside saying those same things. You know what we have to do, my friends? Turn a blind eye. Turn a blind eye to that and continue to persevere. And we see in this gospel what happens when we do that. God bless you.